The ones that played. I think the ones that played football for me, they tackled well. But I thought I was talking about being better. I
Yeah.
wasn't talking about who did bad and who did good. I was talking about being better. Yeah,
Okay. Is there anybody who's particularly good?
the ones that play.
Okay.
Yep.
What sort of challenges are associated with a guy having to learn corner spot and safety spot, a guy like Marquise?
One more time. I'm sorry.
What are the challenges associated with a guy who's learning the corner spot and the safety spot like Marquise?
Um, I don't think it's any, just the day-to-day challenges that those guys have, and they have a lot on the plate. You know, um, just playing the position is not easy, and not just playing the position, but learning the safety spot. Those guys are the quarterbacks of the defense, so those guys got to get everybody lined up. So it's a very unselfish part to that first before they can even think about doing their job. So that part for Marquise, he's handling very well. Also, when they go out to cornerback, he's just competing, competing like anywhere you put him. He's doing a very good job. So I think for every safety that I've ever coached, it's always been challenging learning that safety spot and the corner spot because they all play safety and they all play corner. So just the way these guys are coached is very challenging, especially at the beginning, to learn the things. But that's why it's so important to have the kind of culture in your room that when guys feel like, hey, man, this is coming to be a little bit too overwhelming, you can get some of your older guys to bring those guys along and get those guys back in the film room, make those guys feel good about it. Hey, man, that used to be me. Let me tell you how I handled that. So I lean on the older guys a lot for stuff like that.
So you were excited to see Cam yesterday at the
Mm-hmm.
combine. What about your players who worked with him? Who went through the grind with him for the last few years. The guys who are back. Was there talk about that out at practice today?
Yeah, I mean, no, we wasn't talking about it at all. I was surprised we wasn't. I was just totally focused on the guys today. Cam did a great job yesterday, and I was happy as crap to see him go out and do the stuff that he's been doing for years here. And it looks just like practice the way that he handled that deal. His technique and his individual workouts was right on point. I understood everything he was doing when he was doing it. He didn't change a thing, and I appreciate watching Cam. And I'm pretty sure the younger guys that's in the room right now that want a chance to have want to have the chance to be in that position, to be seen by the National Football League and even being scouted by the National Football League. Well, they know what they got to do to get to that point. So it starts right here. Starts right here. As soon as they wake up in the morning and right before they go to bed, the choices that they make when they wake up, or what kind of person, what kind of player, what kind of teammate I want to be, and then before they go to bed, obviously rest and getting sleep, and all that stuff works hand in hand. So.
I mean, you've had a good run of corners, and it looks like you're going to have another who come from here and go to the next level. What kind of what does that do for your program? Your ability to recruit players, and then your ability to coach them on what you want them to do when they're here in your system.
It's just all about those guys. Just be honest with you. It's about those guys just giving me an opportunity to coach them, and I think all those, every last DB that I've coached since I've been coaching that's playing in the National Football League. I think, maybe these couple guys go, I have about 13 guys, but those guys have been able to just let me coach them. And it's been tough, trust me, it's been tough. Some days I get on them so much, they probably think I hate them, you know. But I just have so much passion into just watching things develop. And then I also give them so much love as well, when it's time. So I just think those guys are, they're watching guys before them start off. Maybe I took a guy that couldn't backpedal. Maybe I took a guy that never played DB before, like Cam. All right, and then teach them how to get in the DB stance, and then teach them how to backpedal, and then teach them how to do this, and then teach them how to do that, and then what I didn't give Cam is his heart. I didn't give him that. He came to Nebraska with that. So just and Cam's God gift, I didn't give him that either. So just being able to recruit guys like that and then bring them here, and the biggest asset these guys have is their ears, to be honest with you. So if they give me their ears, then I know we got something going good.
What is it like so long for them to work with those inexperienced guys? So how is working with a lot of these guys who went to play special teams this year, like this past season? How is it working with them to realize, getting them ready for possibly playing prominent roles in defense?
Well, I mean, it starts at special teams. So if you ain't playing special teams, we probably ain't talking too much about defense, you know. And that's just the culture in the room. Like, if you're not playing special teams, if you're not contributing on special teams, it's going to be very hard for you to play defense for me or for these coaches here that I work for, and Coach Frost. But let me just tell you, it would have to take our special teams coach to say, hey, we don't need you on this right here. In order for those guys not to be on special teams. And I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. But, you know, I didn't play much special teams when I was in the National Football League. But it was the coach. You know, I didn't get to pick that job either. You know, so I was a full-time starter. But when my name was called, I was on those special teams. I was there every day in practice. And then I was on most of them. So.
How do you get guys like Noah and all that kind of like from playing primarily special teams to possibly playing?
Well, Noah has to understand. I mean, it has to understand this is the whole total package. It's not just playing DB. It's the whole total package. This is a football team. So special teams is where these guys are needed. You know, we can rotate guys on defense, but special teams are where these guys are really needed. And once we get these guys to mature enough and understand that enough and get those guys on special teams, get those guys willing to go out there on special teams, because you can be a special teams player but not be willing to play special teams. Make sense? So you can go out there and we can line up and play special teams, but the individual player doesn't really have the same effort that you would see him if you saw him playing a position on defense or offense. So I think for the most part, those guys need to be the guys that when special team is called, they're pushing each other out the way, trying to be the one that coach need to get in there on special teams. And that's when we're really rolling, you know, when we got guys like that can get on special teams and be willing to, hey, I'd rather get on these special teams, coach, and then we'll talk about this defense later.
You've had a guy like JoJo, like he was playing DB and then he sort of moved into that nickel role.
Mm-hmm.
Now like we were talking to Chris earlier, he was playing inside linebacker and he's playing that nickel role. Like, what is the challenge for him? And I know you don't necessarily work with them all the time in practice, but like, what does that challenge look like for Chris in particular to try to get the hang of playing with him?
Those guys are with me every day. Yep, those guys that play nickel are with me every day in Indy. So just show up. Just come be coach. Come with the attitude, you know. Coach attitude gonna match your attitude. It's gonna be perfect. It's gonna be a great day, you know. Just show up with the attitude to want to be coach, and you will get coach. And I just think that, you know, all those guys that come from different positions that end up going to one position and go to the other one, most of all those guys, all those nickel guys, techniques looks totally different, you know. JoJo was able to play the nickel and make it look easy. Isaac Gilford is another one, and he's out there making it look easy. Javen Wright, making it look easy. Even Chris, he's starting to do a lot of things right now, technique-wise, because he's buying into it. So I just think it's for all those guys, you know.
Is it obviously, I mean, is JoJo's absence felt the first week? Just maybe some coverages that you guys were able to do before with him there that you're not able to do right now?
Yeah, I would tell you this: all of those guys' absences are felt right now. You know, I got some guys back there with some talent, but you know, talent only takes you so far. And right now, I'm just hammering away. And I had to tell you, hey, if this day 4 or whatever, yeah, JoJo's absence is felt. You know, and so is Deontay's, and so is Markel's, and so is Cam's, all those guys. All right.
So you had a couple guys transfer that had a lot of experience, like Omar Brown, Tommy Hill. So just speak about like kind of what they bring to the team, to even that position, from just even a competition standpoint, and how they progress within the system.
Yep. I think those guys are great teammates. They came in willing to be a great teammate, not knowing a ton of people, coming from a different system. and they didn't come in like, hey, this is my stuff. You guys back up. I'm in town. Those guys came in with the right attitude, and the guys that were here already did a great job of helping those guys out. Like, hey, we're gonna get in the point where we're gonna compete every day, but I'm still gonna pick you up in the morning. I'm gonna make sure you're not late. Make sense? And I'm still gonna sit next to you in meetings and make sure that you understand the playbook. All right, and we're gonna come back here later on in the day. We're gonna have another meeting, and then we're gonna compete also. So I just think that when those guys came in, those guys realized, hey man, it's not what I thought it was gonna be like. Number one, and then number two, when they do get a chance to compete, they compete. And I try to make it as competitive as possible. But yeah, Deshaun and those guys, Tommy Hill, has a tremendous amount of skill. But most of these players have a tremendous amount of skill. They won't be here. I think what's important is we stop talking about the skill and talk about what makes the player the player.
How they gradually in the system so far?
Yeah, just gradually learning the system, and I think they're doing a great job of learning the system. I think they're doing a very good job. We're at day 4, and they're doing a very good job of learning the system, learning it fast.
This is Braxton Clark's. He's going into his 5th year
Yep.
of football.
Yep.
He's never. I mean, he's played. He's started a game for you.
Mhm.
You've trusted him to put him on the field. What will be the thing? Like, what's the next step for him if he's going to win a starting job?
What's inside? What's inside of him? That's the next thing. What's inside of him? Knows the technique, knows the playbook. What's inside of him? Make sense? What's inside of him? Are you that guy that sprints out there when it's time for kickoff? Are you the guy that just want to wait to defense? Not saying this is Braxton Clark, but that's what I mean by what's inside of him. Make sense? What's inside of him will have to come out of him before we can use him on this football team. And that's not Braxton Clark. That's everybody. All right? That's every single last one of those guys. That's Cam Taylor-Britt, all right, running down on punt. Then you saw him starting on defense. That's Deontay Williams that's running down on kickoff, and you saw him starting on defense. That's Markell, plays every special teams, and you saw him starting on defense. It's the same thing.
So I guess we kind of got a grasp of what you're trying to say of the fundamentals, but I'm just ask, what are some of the fundamentals you want to see from this group? I'm getting from that coming as someone that's kind of their dogs.
Yep, I want to see these guys. I want to see these guys compete at a very, very high level, and I want to see these guys tackle. I want to see these guys bounce up when they make a tackle. I want to see these guys change direction in and out of breaks, make plays on the ball when it's their time within the defense. And I want to see these guys limit the amount of deep balls. All right, limit the amount of deep balls is one of the biggest goals that we wanted to have last year. I think the guys did a great job of limiting those deep balls and some of those important games, Ohio State, and those games that they had a lot of vertical threats on that football team. I thought those guys did a great job of taking away that deep ball.
What's inside of Marquise?
Buford? What's inside of him?
Yeah.
I like to call him a dog. All right, he's a dog, man. He's not scared of anything. He comes, he shows up every day. Put him at multiple positions. When I put Marquise at safety, he didn't know it was coming. I did it right before practice, maybe during practice. I said, go to safety. He went right to safety. And whether he knew exactly what he was doing or not, the first thing I noticed was his speed. The first thing I noticed was it didn't matter if he knew what he was doing or not. The first thing I noticed was him getting to the rock, whether he was right or wrong. Players like that are dogs. That's a mentality. So.
What traits does he have, I guess, that you like about him as a corner, too?
That same trait. I mean, it's a dog. That's the same trait I'm looking for at any position in secondary. I'm looking for that same trait.
Did you see that on the punt team when he was one of those gunners?
One of the gunners, same thing. I mean, you guys watched it. You guys watched it. You saw the same thing, and that's what I see. That's what I see with him in practice right now this spring.
So how are we doing so far in meshing this rather inexperienced group as far as playing defense in the secondary with the experience of they have in front of?
If I had to say right now what I feel about it, I would tell you I don't feel good about it right now. I don't think I'm there. I don't think I'm nowhere close. Right now I'm not even wanting to be there. I'm just wanting to just take this secondary that I have and just every day get better, and don't look up. So if I had to categorize that thing for you, I would just say, hey, we just grinding every day and not looking up.
Marcus was talking about the importance of holding everyone accountable. That includes older guys sometimes. How have you seen him interact with the older guys and sort of coach them up as well?
Marquise?
Yeah.
Oh, he is an older guy. He's one of the older guys. He's so, once you, once you get to a certain point, once you get past that mama drop you off stage, and then you hear you go through a spring or, you go through a semester, you're an old guy. You're no longer a new guy, Jaden Gold is a new guy. He has like a buffet plate full of F-ups, you know what I'm saying? He can do it and be fine because we'll get him coached up and we'll get him right. But those guys that know the culture, it's zero tolerance.
But I mean, there are literally guys older than Marquise and Russell.
Age. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Age.
What does that say to you that he's willing to do that with the older guys?
He's an older guy. Yeah, he's an older guy. He's an older guy to me. He's an old guy to me.
Outside of the buffet full of F-ups from Jaden, how have you? What do you have in him? Obviously, you recruited him for a long time before he actually got to.
He's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. He's like a baby Marquise when he got here. He's doing a great job of, those safeties, man. I'm just telling you, it's hard to play safety. It is hard to play that position on this defense because those guys got to do it all, and then they got to do their job. And so those guys got to do it all. So I take my hats off to those guys that play that position on this team. And you know what the thing about it is, I can put any one of those guys at that position, and so it's never a comfortable day for them for the secondary, because going into a film session, and I'm speaking of safeties, you got my corners over there writing notes because they don't know if I'm gonna put them at safety, So it's just tough.
What have you seen from Quentin Newsome?
Quentin Newsome?
Yeah.
He's doing a lot of great things. He's doing a lot of great things. I want to see him be more of a captain, more a leader in that secondary. He's an old guy. Quentin hasn't played a ton of football, but he started 12 games, and it's very hard to start 12 games for me. All right, and Quentin will tell you that. And I think that the next step for Quentin is becoming a leader in that room.
So, Coach, if you had to pick a starting secondary right now, who would it be?
Starting secondary right now? I don't know. I think you guys know I've never said a starting secondary before.